Bill Belichick, ManningCast, last night. A little shot, I guess, at Jerod Mayo and the New England Patriots. Let's listen to that.
It's a good chance for a halftime swing. I think we saw several games this weekend where, that was really a factor. Certainly the New England Seattle game where, Seattle scored right before the half, ultimately took it into overtime. Like, that was a big 3 points they picked up there, with some, let's say questionable clock management. But, this is a good opportunity for Atlanta to come back and take the lead in the third quarter.
Well, there you go. He's talking about New England. There you go. We were wondering if he was. It was a little questionable clock management.
Oh, I didn't hear you ask Jerod about that.
I forgot about it, too. I forgot about it completely. So, but I don't, I ain't got no issues with it.
No, I don't either. I agree with Curtis.
If they had a petty score on Madden, he'd be 99.
I am not as hate-filled as Curtis is toward Bill
I have
Belichick.
never been happier. I don't hate anything.
Well,
I love it.
No, but you take a daily shot at Bill. But I do think
I just speak the truth.
Well, no, I'm just reflecting the text messages. Yeah. There are some who say, why is Curtis so full of anger about Bill Belichick?
I don't know. I thought he was on Bill's side after the dynasty.
See that text? Looks like it's a Rhode Island text. Where we will be, which now it disappeared. But basically, Curtis is so hate-filled when it comes to Bill Belichick, and the texter doesn't know why.
I mean, Bill hates your team. I mean, you should probably be mad at him. He hates the Patriots right now.
Wouldn't you, though? Like, I think a lot of fans, despite being Patriots fans, understand why he hates, the way in which he went out.
If James was on a coaching staff of an NFL team, I probably wouldn't publicly rip them.
But they took the first shot. Like, after Dynasty, I wouldn't judge anybody for having those feelings.
And you can't judge your dad's. You can't hold the son kind of in contempt because of the dad's failing. Brian Belichick being on the staff. Right. I mean, his dad is a grown man saying what he wants to say, so I don't really think it reflects in any way on Brian Belichick.
I think Jerod Mayo's success would be beneficial to Bill Belichick. I mean, the coaching tree could use a fruitful sprouting, if you know what I mean. There's not been anybody that's left him that's had success, so it would be good if Jerod Mayo found success, I think.
Yeah, but Curtis, if you had a boss whose whole MO right now is trying to get into the Hall of Fame, and you know that he put out a documentary, a full 10-part doc series and trashed you for 10 episodes, wouldn't you probably shy away from ever talking about that boss?
Oh, yeah. I don't think he should have to. I don't think he should be complimentary of Robert Kraft, and I don't think he has to be.
And if anything, they drag him more than he drags them. I mean, think about, like, Mayo, all the shots Mayo took, at Bill. And, he hasn't called me, letting us know some of these things, So it's kind of like, and I had thought, like.
Well, David Anderson, it was just last week, I think, where he shared the magic of Jerod Mayo coming in and
David Andrews.
What'd I say?
Anderson.
David Andrews on his podcast talked about the Bill coming in and explaining to them the difference between a leader and a boss.
Right. Yeah, and they've taken more shots at Bill now that he's gone than he's taken at them. So if anything, I wouldn't see. I don't.
What were the Jerod Mayo shots that he's taken at Bill?
There were when Mayo said when he made it apparent that he didn't really talk to Bill.
No, he didn't. I think we read into that a little bit too much. He just said he wasn't going to
get into that.
Get into that.
No, I'm talking about originally when he first kind of got the job and everything. He made it apparent like, oh, we're gonna do things different. I haven't talked to Bill. Bill didn't call me. Those type of things. Like, so he made it seem like it was like, and they're not like big shots, but it's like throwing lightweight shade. You know how that goes.
I would say Elliot Wolf definitely took a shot at Bill with the vibes at the combine talking about changing things. But I don't think Jerod Mayo.
And Mayo goes, oh, we're going to do things different around here. And it's a little bit of shade. It's not, I don't want to, maybe shots is the wrong word, but you could see a little bit of
And Greg, I would love Bill Belichick to be back on the sideline coaching the Eagles. It would be great for business. I think he would do a far better job than Nick Sirianni, and I think they would be a championship contender. I think
they'd flame out in a minute.
So
we already
I'm
know
trying to be
Sean.
complimentary. It gets quickly.
Yeah. Why is that, Sean?
Because Bill Belichick is not what the Eagles need. The Eagles need somebody who can take control of that offense and
Yeah, but
straighten it
he'll
out.
hire an offense coordinator.
Well, who's he going to bring in? Josh McDaniels?
Yeah, Josh McDaniels is a pretty good offense coordinator.
No.
Good for him.
Now,
With
you
Cam
got-
Newton, that worked out really
Do
well.
you have an issue with Josh McDaniels?
No,
as a coordinator.
No, his
okay.
coordinating style does not suit what Jalen Hurts does. That's all. Very different philosophies. That's all.
He would adapt, though. He would then. I think that would, Josh would just have to adapt to a Jalen Hurts type of style of player. I mean, I think Josh would be able to do that.
I don't know. They weren't big on adapting the playbook. The playbook was generally always the playbook in New England for 25 years?
Well, and I would say, Greg, specifically to the way this conversation started about the run game, pass game, what you need, this team not, the clock management. I'm sure that there's going to be some on-the-job learning for Jerod Mayo. He didn't handle the end of the first half perfectly. But what bothers me and what I try to fight back against, which is the onslaught of oncoming traffic that doesn't understand that there were mistakes made, the team was really bad in close games the last couple of years when Bill was the coach. And a lot of that is Mac Jones. A lot of that is, we can go up and down the list. I'm not saying Bill made bad decisions every time, but the team lost several games that they should have been able to win. And the biggest one for me is the Packers game a couple years ago, where Bailey Zappi comes in, you get to overtime, you get the ball at the 45-yard line of the Green Bay Packers, and instead of going for it on 4th and 2 or 3, you punt to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers takes the Packers down the field and wins the game. There were a lot of games like that. So, yes, while I think Jerod Mayo was not great, I don't understand the pass on 3rd and 5 when you're trying to go up by 6 at the end of the fourth quarter. But to say that absolutely they win that game last year would be to ignore the results of the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we can argue it till the end of time when it comes to the last whatever period of time you want to look at with Bill, last 4 years or whatever. And whether it was Bill who determined who was on the roster here, whether they were last in spending because the owner wanted them to be last in spending, I don't know. I just think that there are clear periods of time in which Bill Belichick was able to help you win football games. And I don't know that you're going to get that same thing from Jerod Mayo for a period of time.
Well, I think you can. I think you already got that in week 1. The defense was the reason why you were able to win that football game. And that's very similar to what we would have said about Bill Belichick. Their ability to come up with a great game plan to slow down a good offense in Cincinnati. Because that's what we used to say about Bill.
Okay, but you just heard Ty Law. You didn't get that in week 2.
Well, in week 2,
quite the contrary.
And Ty didn't realize it, but there was, one of the nerds who talked about when Christian Gonzalez, he was on DK Metcalf, and he only held him to 24 yards on 3 catches. So the touchdown you gave up, and Mayo said it, that was on us. Clearly, there was a miscommunication on whatever coverage was called because it was a blown coverage where you let DK Metcalf run down the field. But I think defensively, overall, when you look at that game, you were able to hold Seattle to 20 points through 4 quarters?
Yeah, I mean, Ty would disagree with you. He spent most of the morning talking about how bad the defense was.
Right, because he was looking at 2 guys who had over 100 yards, and I could see where he's coming from in that aspect.
Gino threw for 327 yards.
Yeah, I could see where he's coming from.
Like, you completely stopped their running game.
Mm-hmm.
Completely. They could not do anything in the running game. They were averaging less than 3 yards a carry. But Gino diced your ass up. Geno Smith came in and won them that football game.
And, Greg, we played it earlier, and it's going to be an issue the more they lose, if they lose a lot this year, where you're not going to hear Pop Douglas say what he said yesterday following a win. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you lose instead of winning to go to 2-0, and now all of a sudden you already hear a public complaint about their role in the game
Would
plan.
you have heard that from a young wide receiver like Pop Douglas week 2 if Bill were the head
Kendrick
coach?
Bourne, yeah.
No. Because even Kendrick Bourne, didn't
It
really.
was like week 10, and he
didn't really say
danced
much.
around
It was
They played week 1, and Bob Kraft was already talking to Tom Curran about Kendrick Bourne's role
right,
in the
but
offense.
Kendrick Bourne didn't really say it. It was more about Tommy Curran reporting that Kendrick Bourne is upset.
What was the Thursday night game against the Bills? That wasn't week 15. There was, I mean, I don't know. I could go back and find them, but yes, the modern athlete does speak out more now.
That you'll get more of that this year if things go bad than you got last year when things were bad. You'll get more guys who will be saying things when a microphone is in their face.
Yeah.
Versus last year, they weren't really saying anything. And I think it's part of, because they see their head coach who says things, and then they feel like, okay, I can too go down that road too.
Can't that get people in trouble though?
Yeah. Oh, that's always the thing that that's the give and take about having a coach that speaks freely versus a coach who doesn't say anything, is that the players, will look at the coach and go, okay.
But do we think that Andy Reid all of a sudden became a genius?
No, he got Mahomes.
Yeah,
Right.
got Mahomes.
Like, it's sad that that's all it is now in sports, but if you have Patrick Mahomes,
But he's always had good quarterbacks.
but
He's
not
always
the
had
best.
good offenses, period.
Yeah, he's always had good quarterbacks. He's always had, other than Alex Smith that 1 or 2 years, he's always had top 10, top
And I mean, Alex Smith
7
was a Pro Bowl
quarterbacks.
quarterback.
And look at the amount of distractions they have in that locker room. Every year, every week, there's a new story off the field.
Well, when you have a top 10 quarterback, you can get by with all the stuff off the field.
The defense risk.
Sometimes. Hasn't happened yet with Josh Allen.
Well, that's because he's playing Mahomes.
Yeah, literally the only guy he loses to is Mahomes.
Yeah, and you think about Buffalo. Buffalo is always going to be competitive right in it. When I say you having a quarterback like that, you might not win a Super Bowl, but you're always going to be a contender.
No, I'm just saying that getting a great quarterback doesn't automatically mean you win a Super Bowl.
No, but it puts you in the conversation.
Yeah, you can at least get there.
Right.
If you have the best quarterback, it does.
Well, even if you have a top 10 quarterback, a top 7 quarterback, it does. Lamar Jackson, you might not have won a Super Bowl. Aaron
you're a
Rodgers,
game away.
You're right in the mix. Find me a team other than the San Francisco 49ers who don't have a top 10.
Yeah, I mean, Andy
The Lions?
Reid was a good coach before Patrick Mahomes, though.
Yeah, 100% he was. He was
But
a
he
good
always-
coach.
He got Donovan McNabb to a Super Bowl.
But Donovan McNabb was a top 5, top
He was
7
number 2
quarterback.
pick, wasn't he?
Yeah, when he played in his era, McNabb was considered a top 8 quarterback. I'm saying find me a team that is able to do it where their quarterback, and when I say able to do it, be a legit contender when their quarterback's not top 10. I'll give you top 10. Just can't do